My fundamental issue is and I've said it several times, you really need to have a national value proposition. What does the country stand for? What is it that we wake up in the morning, we're all pursuing every day? That it is who we want to be, how we want to be seen, how we want to be perceived, what we want to achieve. And for as long as there's an absence of that, which is really the role of leadership, because I always say Nigeria is a relatively easy country to lead. Nigerians are so eager to follow, we just haven't found the right person to follow. And when each time we think we found the right person, we find out that the fundamentals of that individual is just not really the kind of leadership we're looking for. We're looking for visionary leadership. We need it desperately. You know, sometimes some leaders set the pace and the tone, others follow and maintain it. We haven't found one to create that tone. Maybe for me personally, maybe an Awolowo did that, but nobody else has been able to follow up and maintain and drive it. So we need an anchor. And unfortunately for us, we tend to follow a lot of traditional anchors. By anchor, that is what is it that we hook ourselves onto and drives everything else that we do. And I've thought a lot about it, and it's almost like a paradigm shift for me in saying that I believe that the anchor that we need is education and training. We need to find a way whereby we can, it's almost like saying that the vision or mission of Nigeria should be that not we want to be the greatest oil producing country or want to be the greatest agricultural country or greatest manufacturing country. We just want to be the country that's got the best quality of people. A country with an extremely trained workforce, an extremely educated workforce, an extremely enlightened workforce, an extremely intelligent population, whereby when you have that in place, everything else falls in place, because when you're talking about very smart people, then they do smart things. So with that, the one thing that we really need to focus on is how can we build smart people? How can we encourage people to be smart? Okay, we've got it wrong. So moving forward, let's not talk about the past. Moving forward, what do we need to do? And I think the lessons that I've learned also has been in the last 10 years or so with our digital economy, especially also with the telecoms, whereby I used to think that when the whole concept of SMS was started, we said that the people would be too illiterate to be able to use SMS. And yet, when they found out that it was a cheaper way of communicating than using the phone itself, everybody picked up the SMS. Today, we say that the whole digital social media and using internet and digital services is something that is very sophisticated. And yet, you look around you, everybody from the lowest level possible, for as long as they can lay their hands on a device, they jump onto it, and they're moving very rapidly in its utilization. So I'm saying that really, how can we embark on a massive educational program for our population? It's a paradigm shift. So if we decide that we will be spending the greatest amount of our budget on educating our people, then that's a step forward. Now, educating our people and doing it in a digital manner is the next step. And if you're going to do it digitally, it means that we are going to be investing a massive amount of money in building digital infrastructure. It's almost like saying that everybody has a right to digital access. Now imagine a situation where we say that in this country, that is it. Everybody must have a right to digital access. That is almost like saying you have a right to oxygen. Now, once you do that, you are unleashing such a powerful mechanism for making the economy to grow. It means that everything we do must support education. So if education becomes the anchor, it means that industrialization, if you want to build a manufacturing organization, then please build it in the area that is going to help us to drive our education. Build it in an area that's going to help our digitalization process. Build it in an area whereby you're going to build us handsets and tablets and all those things that's going to drive our educational system, okay? Build it in an area whereby anything we do that's agriculture is going to be based again on driving agricultural intelligence, agricultural knowledge, agricultural research. Whatever it is we do, even health. Do you know that I discovered doing some research that certainly in Lagos and maybe some other parts of the region, most local governments have a school, primary school or maybe secondary school, but certainly primary school. And it just so happens that all the government primary schools have a plot of land that they reside on. They're never in a tiny location. It's always a major area. And so if we say that every primary school is the center of a local government, then it means that we can put our primary health care center on the same location. It means that the school becomes the focus of that local government area. It means that the local government chairman is assessed based on how that school is performing. The community will serve the school. So chairs, tables, uniforms, shoes, bags, school bags, textbooks or digital facilities, maintenance of generators for the school because they got priority, therefore they must have generators. Maintenance of water system, they must have water because our priority is towards the schools. It means that the whole community itself is geared towards ensuring that the school survives. And that way the community is engaged. So if I'm a tailor, I sew school uniforms for all the children in that area, but only the tailor that lives in that community is one that is allowed to sew uniforms for that community. The man who's going to make tables and chairs and so on, if you're from that community, you serve the school. So I'm saying as an example, a very basic example of how you can use education to drive the whole economy. And it's a double win. You're educating the people, at the same time you're providing a means of livelihood for them in the process of education. It sounds very basic, but sometimes the simple answer is always the best. And so you find that again, this is something that we talk about. So my own position is that if we can go back and focus on education as the anchor for everything else we're going to do, most people who want to think of at a very sophisticated level will say, what's that going to do for us? But just imagine that if over the next 5, 10, 15 years, we are pumping serious money into education in all its ramifications based on the way I just explained it, you'll be amazed at what it's going to do to the whole economy itself. You know, a lot of times we say nowadays that 60, 70% of the population is below the age of 25 or whatever it is. What we're really saying is that another 10 years from now, a huge, probably 50% of the population is in the working age, the age of employment. So what do we do? Because we are probably saying that they're young, youthful population. That young population is going to become a working population and work to do what? Where are the jobs? And yet you find out that again, I believe that education, training, development, competence building, all those things that allow us to create a sophisticated environment will allow the environment itself to propel itself and become the way to go. Now, there's certain impediments also, and that is if you don't have leaders that are technically savvy, leaders who you don't even have to be technically savvy, you just have to have that vision and say, let those who know how to do this, let them do it. But we will support and make sure that these things happen. And I think these are the things that we've got to consider.